Soniqs is really the person that they're relying on to kind of rally the troops around for BetBoom, because the Hawk, Lyle, Noticed, that's all their first TIs. You've got Roger as well, kind of the new addition coming through towards the later stages of the DPC, but really for the position 1, 2, and 3, all your cores, they don't have that TI experience. This is a very new kind of environment for them. We did see them though at the LAN. We saw how they were able to perform at Stockholm. There was a 7th, 8th finish, which was honestly a pretty good showing for what maybe a lot of people were expecting. They didn't have as much knowledge of this team, but now when you get down to the TI stage, like you said, they don't have a lot of games left. They've only got 4 series left, in fact, and have to go up against one of the toughest opponents right now in EG.
Yeah, I was actually watching a Team Spirit vlog last night, and they said that they were actually really impressed by Na'Vi back in the last chance qualifiers, but it was just the fact that they went on for so long that teams figured out Na'Vi, and they were able to draft against it. They showed a lot of great, unique strats that were kind of new to the scene, at the time, the Lina position 1, for example, and it worked out really well for them. I think BetBoom have the same issue. Back at Stockholm, what their style was, it was quite new, but now everyone seems to be playing that, or everyone at least knows the answers to be able to play against that. So that's, I feel, their biggest issue, that perhaps once it gets to the mid game, teams know exactly where they're going to be moving around and they can respond to it effectively. But EG, it doesn't seem like they care. They're just running almost the entirely same strat every single time. Pick Nightfall or Pushy Hero, first pick Shadow Fiend for Arteezy if it's available. It's just looking incredibly strong, and I think Crit as well is playing a fantastic TI, as he always seems to do.
Well, there is some anti-synergy coming through from the EG camp. It looks like Bulba's in the old uniform instead of the bleed spearmint. So we'll see if that's going to be some issues. But I've been incredibly impressed with Bulba and Fly in regards to the drafts. I think really through this tournament overall, oh look, there's some extra synergy as well. Nightfall's got a little cushion there as well. Very similar color, but I think EG, their drafts have been something that has really enabled them in a lot of their games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something that's going to propel them a long way, and I really still think that EG haven't shown their entire hand. We've seen that you've got the potential to play on Nightfall a lot more of these team fight-oriented heroes. He's done it through the DPC. There's a reason that EG qualified directly to TI, not just on, some last chance qualifiers or regional qualifiers. They have a few variable options, and when you consider that he is probably the newest one on the scene, to be able to have all of that experience and have someone that's performing at such a consistent level, that's a big benefit to you.
Yeah, which is crazy to think of as well, considering at the previous TI, he was playing on Virtus Pro as a position 1. This is a person who...
Different name as well back then.
Different name as well, different role, and now playing in a different region, and Nightfall is performing to an incredible level. And we've seen EG, they have gone for the experimentation with the carry swapping to the off lane. We've seen Samael try it, we've seen Ramses try it, and now it really feels like they found that piece that has fit them perfectly.
Yeah, it took a little while, let's be fair, but certainly, there were aspects that influenced that, like them not being able to boot camp all in the same area for quite some time, just because of how, visa laws and all that worked. But they've been able to come together, they're looking really strong, and I'm keen to see how this one pans out. EG won the coin flip, but it means that they are going to have the first pick overall. I think BetBoom are just going to be looking to prioritize a lot of the pushing heroes. I would be very surprised if EG don't get rid of the Visage, because that is still first pick territory if you're on BetBoom. I don't think the Hawks had a single opportunity to play it so far this TI, because teams just insta-lock it.
10 seconds remaining.
So we'll see what hero does slip through for BetBoom in particular. It's like you mentioned, the Hawk, he's got some of those heroes that he's incredibly comfortable on. And he will have the option for some of them. So Visage, Nature's Prophet, both going to slip through, but more than likely Evil Geniuses will have that answer. And then we see some respect as well from BetBoom. Shadow Fiend's going to be banned out, and EG in their series versus Hokori, both game 1 and game 2, they just first picked the Shadow Fiend. So BetBoom, they don't want to have to deal with this hero.
Well, they'll have to deal with this one. Instead, Abed has been playing a fantastic Primal Beast so far this TI. I want to say he hasn't lost a single game on it. I might be wrong, but out of the 3 games I believe that he's played, it's just looked incredibly dominant. You can make those super early rotations because you're so effective at being able to shove the lane in. And early on, the enemy mid laner probably doesn't have the potential to be able to counter that, to force you back to the lane. Otherwise, you're going to be losing a lot of net worth underneath your own mid tier 1 tower. So, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, I think we could expect to see Arbet on the move, unless BetBoom specifically drafts something for Lyle that's going to be able to push it back in their face. And there we go, Dahak gets his visage.
Dahak gets his visage. The Clockwork pairing as well. So a very strong lane combo, and also just at least the clock is a great way to be able to address the Primal Beast. We saw that through the last chance qualifiers. We've seen it through the group stage as well. It is a very nice lane matchup in that aspect where Battery Salt and Cogs can have a great way to mitigate the trample. It could be a little bit different though, because again, we are expecting Arbed to play the Primal Beast mid, so you're not going to have that lane-to-lane matchup that feels pretty nice. It's just going to be off the back of kind of the game counter, which isn't as strong because you can go down the BKB route.
Yeah, absolutely. You might even look to consider, is Undying still in the pool? I think that's reasonable against the Primal Beast, just because you're not really someone that wants to be doing a ton of right clicks in team fights. It's just an eco comfort hero most of the time. On this Primal Beast, you're going to make the rotation towards the enemy's safe lane, so if you could just have a decay and drop down the tombstone, then maybe while you're diving underneath the tower at 3 minutes, you're actually going to end up falling.
Because we saw yesterday Nightfall's heroes against Hokori, they were getting picked up in the first phase. I think it was the 8th pick in both those games. So is there something that is standing out that we could see Nightfall play?
Not particularly. I mean, maybe... I was about to say the Pango isn't the worst option here. I know it goes away from what his style has really been so far, but I feel like it could be a reasonable fit against them. Instead, they're going to go to Snapfire. Okay, something that Fly has been playing most, I believe, for EG so far. So it does give them quite a strong lane. You're able to pair it together with, considering Arteezy isn't going to be playing this position 1 Shadow Fiend, something that's a little bit more... oriented towards going for kills, but that melee aggressive POS 1, which I really like whenever Arteezy plays that and just doesn't just turn into a farm bot. The Ursa, the Faceless Void, even a Sven to a lesser extent, has a pretty decent time in lane when you're able to get that super easy setup for the cookie with the Stormhammer.
Yeah, it gives you a nice way to be able to address the Gravekeeper's Cloak with the Mortimer Kisses, get out of the cogs as well. Some extra benefits that the Snapfire is able to provide them for if it is going to be Fly playing it more than likely.
Yep. You see the Faceless Void being removed. Just, again, something that's got a jump, right? Something that's going to be able to move away from the cogs. Even just a little bit of that damage over time for the Visage to be able to deal with the Gravekeeper's Cloak a little bit more easily. Visage, of course, and Clockwork. Two of those heroes that really like to be spamming out a lot of their abilities. And yeah, you can just see they're looking to try and protect Dahak as much as possible. All this damage over time stuff just completely removed. All the stuff that's able to either disjoint abilities or just completely retreat from a team fight as well.
I wonder if BetBoom considers something like a Disruptor, and the main reason I bring it up is because we saw in the last chance qualifiers that the Clockwork Disruptor really felt like a great way to be able to address the Primal Beast. I haven't seen actually too many Primal Beasts in the games we've been casting and how teams have addressed it in a similar way, so I'm not sure if people are kind of diverging to a different route, but it is an Eastern European team. They always love their Disruptor, and from what we saw at the last chance qualifiers, I was a pretty big fan of it to address the Primal Beast.
Yeah, no, and it even just gives you another easy way to be able to set up for the Static Storm as well, right? You don't need to completely rely on the kinetic field. You could just use the cogs for that same purpose. And well, they actually pick up the Pangolier for Noticed here. More commonly, you would assume it's going to be him playing it as opposed to Lyle, although Lyle has played it a couple of times actually so far in this TI, so maybe they're just looking again for that person that's able to shove out the mid lane when you inevitably want to make that rotation on the Primal Beast, and even just for your own sustainability in lane, you trample towards the Pango, he could still swashbuckle back to safety. Ooh, alright. Mentioned those aggressive POS ones, this is probably the king. Good old Putka coming through for, we would assume, Arteezy.
Trying to see what they want to pair it up with now here. For the Pudja. Maybe going to still hide Nightfall's hero till later on. Look to show crits at the moment. Are you looking for a way to address the Pangolier Rolling Thunder?
Potentially. I mean, you've still got that Razor left in the pool as well, which, again, I think it was Kezu that mentioned it on the panel. Maybe it was Fear. You know, everything's all already blurring together. It was being able to take it away from Amar, but if you could just get that static link onto the Pango and chase him down, I think you're going to be very happy. I think they still don't have amazing ways to be able to deal with some of this push, so you still might just go down the route of the Beastmaster.
BetBoom Team's turn to
Oh, Sven. Okay. I mean, we've seen some position 5 Sven. We've seen occasional position 4 Sven. Not so much the 4 coming out from EG. It's been other teams, Entity in particular. Katami really loves to play that one. Who knows? It could be a position, a support Pudge coming through here as well, right? We just don't know. And there isn't that easy setup for the hook as well. So maybe that's what we can be looking for. Just that simple stun in the laning phase to be able to enable the hook.
Yep. You even have the potential to give Nightfall the Primal Beast and then give Arbed the Pudge, run an Arteezy Sven. There's a lot of flex that Evil Geniuses can play with here with the lineup.
Yeah, I would say most likely it's going to be a position 1 Pudge, position 5 Snapfire, 4 Sven, and a 2 Primal Beast, because once you get that level 2, for example, on the Sven, and you've got the Warcry, Primal Beast makes that early rotation, you pop the Warcry, you get the extra movement speed, and he does even more damage when he comes to the lane. So there's some decent synergy there, as well as on the Pudge, right? All you really need to do is keep up with people and have that rot on, and then there's very few ways to be able to get away from it.
Well, looking for I believe the Sonego hero getting picked up at the 18th. Do you feel like there's any weaknesses that they need to cover here with the position 5?
I mean, you got 3 pretty beefy boys right now. I mean, 4 strength heroes, and normally I would say a Phoenix wouldn't be too bad against this, and Santeko plays a great Phoenix, but it's into a Snapfire. So that's the one thing that I'm a little bit more conscientious about. Unless they feel like they've got the synergy to be able to say, hey, when I Supernova, Pango, you better be on top of that Snapfire, or Clockwork, you better hookshot on top of that as well. They're going to go the Venge instead. This is something that they've been picking specifically against the Enigma a lot of the time, both for the amplified damage in the laning phase, to be able to deal with the Eidolons, as well as, of course, the swap going through the BKB. But, I mean, it's still pretty decent, right? You buff up the Visage a little bit, you buff up the Pango in terms of his damage with the Vengeance Aura. It's not the worst.
It is not the worst. You save versus the Pudge Dismember is going to be really nice as well as the game goes on.
And the Pulverize.
And the Pulverize as well. Yeah, very good point. I mean, because these can be often spells that can just guarantee a kill if you're protected with the BKB. So the Venge at least having some way to mitigate that. I am a bit concerned though that EG, if they are very far ahead, then getting on top of the Venge is going to be very easy. So this is kind of the one issue with this hero, that if people are just running at you, you can have some difficulty with if your lineup is kind of far behind, you don't have people to pop in front. So we'll see really how the early game is able to shape up.
And maybe they even give it to Noticed as well, right? If you're really just wanting that secondary life. So if they choose to commit heavily, if they choose to run at you, you've still got that secondary life as long as you've got the Ags, but it's going to rely on your... Every time you see this Venge and he's forced to go into the Aghanim Scepter, you got to give him like 17 minutes to be able to just farm and not have too much impact in these team fights. The lane's not too bad. You know, Venge Clockwork, not the worst, but it certainly makes life a little bit more challenging. They seem to think that it's just going to be the position 5 Vengeful Spirit paired together with the Visage, and you know, for pretty good reason, and they're banning out the Dawn and the Timber Saw for Noticed.
10 seconds remaining.
All right. Heading to the 23rd, Sniper's even going to be banned out as well from BetBoom. So we're mentioning that EG, they have this capability to put some heroes into multiple roles. We're going to try and go for that really, because they don't particularly have a win condition at the moment, or at least a late game hero that can secure the game for them.
I mean, I think you could feel pretty confident though with the Visage to be able to end the game. Dahak has played enough games on it that he's going to be able to get some effectiveness there. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going to go into the Beastmaster still. It feels, a little awkward, considering you're probably going to be going up against a Pudge, easy way to deal with the Boar, as well as the Helm of the Dominator creep. But I think if they just want to go very quickly, which also the Undying kind of deals with, right? You're going to be able to deal with both of the Boars as well as the Beastmaster itself in the lane. I feel like those are pretty good options through the Sniper and the Undying bans.
BetBoom Team's turn to Templar Assassin.
Yeah, huh? They're not going to Veno, are they? Think that's not a bad Veno game against a TA. You also got, again, 4 strength heroes, so that damage over time from the Poison Nova, dealing percentage damage is pretty good. You can help with the push with the Plague Wards. Not the easiest lane for someone like the Pudge. I suppose the Flesh Heap gets extra value, though, just because basically as soon as you pop it, you're just taking 0 damage from the Pango, from the Veno, even the Familiars to a lesser extent, but I still feel like it wouldn't be the worst pick for him.
I think I really like the Venom call. If Viper might be another route they want to consider, they're going to Slardar.
I like it. I love Slardar against Pudge. Pudge is one of those heroes that needs to be able to withstand and deal with a lot of that small damage over time that I was just talking about. It's actually going to be a Nightfall Primal Beast. It's an RTZ Pudge, but heavy minus armor, in my opinion, is the way to beat the Pudge. So you've got a Vengeful Spirit, you've got the Lucky Shot from the Pango, you've got a Slardar as well with the Corrosive Haze. So really don't be surprised if you see this Pudge, which a lot of people see as immortal a lot of the time, actually get melted in a couple of seconds in these team fights, unless RTZ specifically buys items to be able to protect that.
So initially when I saw the Venge pick up, I was a little bit concerned because they played it into a Sven, and I feel like the Warcry just completely negates what you get out of the Wave of Terror. And now they're like, let's double down on some more minus armor. Let's get noticed to the stage where he's at level 18, where you get 3 points of Corrosive Haze, and you got the minus 20 armor. So
I don't think you want to get to level 18 on noticed. I think level 12 is going to be like, right, this is good enough. We got to go.
Okay. All right. Well, are you concerned then? Because, I mean, Warcry is a great way to be able to deal with lineups that are playing off physical damage and have a lot of minus armor. So do we feel like this buff is going to be enough, or a BetBoom just so far down into the minus armor route?
I think you got to go, just continue to go into it. I want to see a medallion picked up as well. You know, it's something that a Visage gets pretty nicely. Even the Solar Crest amps up things like your familiars as well. I think they're going to go very, very heavily into this this physical route. So with the Sven, expect to see an Aghanim Shard come out from him as well. Even just a casual Buckler, honestly, for EG, I think wouldn't go amiss. A Crimson Guard as well, I think we could potentially look to see, because look at what you're up against. Familiars, Swashbuckle, like all this little bit of physical damage that you're able to out-sustain, I think is going to do a lot of work off EG. If they're just able to withstand this super early game, I think they got it.
So what do we need to see out of BetBoom then for them to secure this early game? If you feel like this is a lineup that's able to really push the tempo, who is kind of that key person that we have to look to have a good lane to really help out?
I mean, you don't exactly make the best rotations on the Pangolier, right? So it's going to be more about the communications. And from interviews that I saw with Lyle and Dahak and even Seneko, that was the big thing that they thought that they had to work on the most, is nerves and communication going into games. So they'd be feeling a little bit nervy after those first 2 days, only picking up the 2 wins so far, but they've got to be on point. You don't have any more chances to be able to pick up that surprise win. And, you know, against one of the people at the top of the table in EG, this would be a real surprise if they were able to claim a W against them.
A really important map victory. Again, they are starting to get to the stage where they're the ones currently tied with Soniqs in 9th place. So at the moment, if it continues on, they'd be eliminated out of TI 11. But a couple of teams ahead of them. You got Boom with 3 wins, Hokori and Gaimin Gladiators with 4 wins as well. So it is still very close at the bottom of the table. And for BetBoom to be able to start off this second half of the group stages with a win against Evil Geniuses would be incredible. One, just for their confidence, and just to be able to put themselves in a position where they're not going to be worried potentially about this elimination.
Well, who's going to get caught out here, though, by this attempt towards the bounty runes? Arteezy might be the one that actually scouts out this movement first, but just pathing. Going to catch TA.
Great stun, though. Clipping onto 2 and Arteezy with the hook. Get our bet out to safety. This might be 4 bounty runes for EG.
Fly, he's considering it.
No, this.
Oh, yeah, he just got it. Thought I got denied. So, all right, 4 bounty runes for EG. It's a nice little injection of gold. All right, I hate to see it. Right, well, this is you're hoping for a little bit. I mean, I was so close to getting that first blood. Fly with a double stun, and then you get the hook out from Arteezy.
Very, very nice. Yeah, just in terms of, you know, there's going to be a lot of teams, Soniqs in particular, cheering for EG this time around. Soniqs actually have a fair few of the, let's call them easier opponents, or opponents that haven't had quite as many wins so far, whereas Boom, they're coming up against a few of the juggernauts here, so the standings are super up in the air.
That they are indeed. Anything can happen at the TI stage. With the caliber teams we have, everyone is so goddamn close, being able to take maps off each other. See?
Hook on RTZ on the bottom side. I mean, Dahak, again, early on, you don't have the greatest amount of armor on this Visage, so every single time you can get those big right clicks coming in, although Fly.
Right, continue to be chased down, but Arteezy is going to be able to tank some of the battery assault charges, so some nice harassment. Top lane as well. Crit's also falling pretty low. We'll be able to get off into the tree line. Nightfall acting as the bodyguard. Of course, we do also see the lane spot for BetBoom. You've got the Visage, the carry for them playing down bottom into the Pudge lane. And you also have the Slanter up in the safe lane. So what do you feel like the reasoning is? Oh, another hook from Arteezy. Still without the level 2. Really need that rot to be able to hold the Hawk into place.
Yeah, that's the thing that they've been doing really well on BetBoom. They pulled the wave. They made sure that Arteezy wasn't able to get a lot of those early last hits, even though they're slightly in the lead right now on the net worth. Experience-wise, it's slightly favoring BetBoom, but BetBoom don't want it to be this close underneath the tower. There's always that threat of being hooked back and getting that easy kill to be able to accelerate Arteezy. And I mentioned before that BetBoom need to get off to a good start. This is an early game-oriented draft.
At the bottom lane, the action will always continue. Fly, he's got 3 mangoes, so he can just chuck out the stuns to easily set up for the hooks.
Top side.
Top lane, there's battling going on as well, as noticed. He's going down to the trample of Nightfall, but he's got to sell to be able to help out with the resources.
Yeah. Teams a lot of the time are looking to, rather than deny away their flag bearer creep as well, just be able to keep it up for as long as possible, even just for that 3 mana regen that it's going to, sorry, health regen that it's going to provide you. So they're going to be playing around that quite heavily on the top side. Arbe and Lyle just trading right now. Not really a kill lane for either of them, so just going to be around potentially protecting some of those power runes.
Do we feel like this is a lane that Lyle should be worried about, or is going to have some difficulties, I should say, into the Templar Assassin? Like, really need those rotations? Okay.
Nah. I mean, the TA isn't one of those mobile heroes, right? So you're not really going to be able to instantly close in onto either of the power runes. Of course, it helps. Like, you're the one that actually wants to be the initial rotator. And I don't believe they've built up any stacks for the TA just yet on EG. So I think Lyle shouldn't be all that worried. He just needs to play the lane, get the most out of it, and worry about not falling behind in the last hits department.
Which he's doing pretty well in at the moment. Top of the last hits here for the Pangolier. Gets a bottle refill thanks to the bounty, and they're going to have the water rune up shortly as well. So we'll see how they're going to be able to slow down the Arbed Templar Assassin. Of course, this is a slight advantage that BetBoom have just in regards to the matchup, where the Pango can look to influence the side lanes, whereas the Templar Assassin is the win condition. He's going to look to get as much farm as he possibly can. So Neko top lane's going to be in some trouble. Nightfall can easily trample on top, and first blood picked up for the Primal Beast.
Arteezy was going for the hook there while Dahak was just pathing behind the trees, and you had Clockwork pulling the wave. Roger behind the T1 tower. I mean, the issue for Dahak is right now, he is way behind on network. You've got this big wave coming underneath the tower that I don't think you've got the ammunition to be able to take down any of these heroes. Arteezy is very happy just to keep them running at you, feed a lot of that experience over. Nearly going to be a full level ahead once this creep wave dies.
They're going to be cautious. Stun chucked out, but Arteezy just wants to farm instead of going for the hook. All the side lanes very close to potentially members going down. We see the bottom aggression and the top side as well. Crit and Nightfall. It's actually going to be BetBoom that make the attempt, but notice very hesitant about moving forward. Crit's in a position where always Primal Beast can look to step in and help out if required.
Fly here might be in a little bit of trouble. You've got the level 2 battery assault, but again, another great hook by Arteezy twice now, saving his team's life.
And they might now turn it onto Roger with a little bit of damage coming through from the rot. Only level 1, just the harassment coming through, nothing too crazy.
Really is showing up this TI, isn't he? Arteezy, even this first siege creep wave. We'll see if Arteezy chooses to just instantly hook the siege itself, just to get, again, a little bit of that experience boost. He's half a level ahead of Dahak right now, and Yeah, I'm worried if I'm BetBoom. I really don't think they have the damage, especially since he just had those infused raindrops delivered.
Top lane. Nightfall, he's going to go for it. In fact, a double charge finds the angle. A crossbow holding back for the moment, but the right-click damage coming through. Nightfall just slaps him down, and now bottom lane as well. The Hawk trying to get some distance thanks to the boots, but Arteezy's onto his target with the rock. Hawk will just be able to get some separation, though.
Most of the times you see a dual melee lane and you think, well, this isn't going to work out too well, but these two just have such great synergy. Nice hook.
On the kill, EG. Off to a great start, 2,000 net worth lead, 3 kills for the Radiant boys.
And essentially no way to die here on Arteezy. It's going to rely on Lyle rolling through. He's got his level 6 and he wants to push that lane out as quickly as possible. He can afford to expend his spells as well because he's got that regen rune that he was able to pick up. Might actually make the move up towards the top side, but you're going to see it. And Lyle even gets that nice little D-ward off. He's going to be able to get rid of the psionic trap as well if he was wanting to. Might have done it in the mid lane, but yeah, here we go. One more lane pushed out, I think, and then he's going to look to make a movement, maybe with the Orb of Corrosion once it's delivered to him.
Feels like it's a lot of pressure on Lyle, though, to connect with this rotation.
It's actually looking to put a little bit of pressure onto the tower. Okay. Playing a little bit more of the passive route, maybe just not wanting to move until he gets that orb delivered. Top side, they've gone for another dive here, and Noticed is pushed all the way back underneath his tower.
They can aggressively glyph if they want to. In fact, they're just going to continue to run through the tower range. Pushing Soniqs and Noticed out of the wave. And yep, there's the glyph coming up, but also the rotation
look at that.
from Lyle.
Did you see the micro on the courier?
Scouts him out. Lyle's not going to get anything out of this as Crit jumps to the high ground. He can pop a stick for enough mana to TP Soniqs. Does get a glimpse of the Snapfire, however. Does look like they're going to be able to catch up to Mr. Crit and hopefully secure. He's all getting very close to Soniqs, but doesn't have the spells to be able to turn it back around. So there we go. Lyle, in the end, will be able to get the first kill for BetBoom.
That space created all that time. Abed was just sitting in the mid lane, hitting the tier 1 tower, already down to half HP. With all of that time that you spent up with a simple rotation that just didn't work out. Lyle is going to actually go here for Abed, but do they have the damage? I don't think they do.
I don't think they do as well, even with the Hawk being nearby. It's a nice bounce forward. Targeting down Fly, but this here is relatively tanky. But the illusion dodge of the Stormhammer. Lyle's okay for the moment. Doesn't get a lot of distance away. They can move on as Crit puts Abed into the middle. One more right click is going to be able to secure the kill, but now Abed's in a compromised position as the Hawk is going to be able to secure a big kill for BetBoom. Roger as well is pushing on 4. They're going to turn it back onto Fly. They can use the Pango illusions to tank the tower if required, and BetBoom get a double kill in the mid lane.
So important for the Hawk, right? He didn't actually get that first kill because it was one of the Pango illusions that ended up getting the right click, but still gets him closer to that level 6, gets a huge amount of net worth over to him. I mean, he's still a fair way behind, but it was looking like a hiding to nothing that he was having here at the very beginning of this game. So once he gets that level 6, the map can open up a little bit. It can cause the next movement that comes out from Lyle to actually result in maybe a tower going down.
On mid lane. Abed, they're going to be cautious because the smoke from BetBoom, Roger and Soniqs connecting straight onto the Templar Assassin once again with Nightfall's rotation. It's going to be enough chaos to keep the Templar Assassin alive. They need detection. And with a sentry drop, they'll be able to bring him down. But EG bringing the forces to be able to win out in the skirmish. A 3-for-2 trade in the end.
And they made sure to instantly make that rotation as well, realizing that the Rolling Thunder wasn't up at the start of that fight. It's available now, but you've already lost 3 heroes, so I think BetBoom, even despite losing Abed, going to be very happy with that trade because you've still got this Pudge who, you know, was involved in all of that without the single death. He's gotten into the Vanguard now, so again, mentioning how effective that's going to be against the Pango, against the Visage, against all of this physical damage.
Is he going to get some free familiars?
Nah, doubt it.
Alright, let's see what they can... They've got a DD on Lyle, Rolling Thunder's back up as well, and that Orb of Corrosion, so this could be an opening here for BetBoom to potentially find a kill.
Thinking where exactly they go to make their move. Dahak is still mode farm right now. He can't afford to be consistently going for these kill attempts. You've just had the tome delivered to Clockwork, so Roger is going to have his level 6 for the hook shot. Very ideal if you're able to take out Crit, for example. just stop a lot of that damage, and more importantly, the mobility providing from the Fire Snap Cookie. Full wrap around. He's found crit. He's found that he's level 6 as well, so are they in a position yet to converge on Soniqs and Notice? Doesn't seem like he wants to make the move just yet, but his smoke's about to expire, so he has to be careful about a lot of this movement because he's underneath an Observer Ward.
A lot of space for EG. Net worth lead continuing to grow. Arbed back at the triangle. Farming up an Ancient stack. You got Arteezy mid lane as well, but they're actually going to TP fly top. Looking to take a team fight or potentially even finally get this first objective of the game.
Look at how much they're protecting this though. 2 Observer Wards, both in the lane as well as closer towards their tower. Not wanting to get caught out by a hook from the Pudge or something as simple as... Oh, they're going to go in. Made the move.
Roger will start. Nightfall's the target, but look at the follow-up. Artillery getting rained down onto Roger's head. They're going to swap him to get some distance away, but still Crit's able to bring him down. And Arteezy's in as well. A beautiful cookie puts him in prime position to capitalize on Slardar being out of place. And now Arteezy wants more blood as well. They see Soniqs go under the tower. Hook still on cooldown. Soniqs will make it out.
And they had full vision. They had full understanding of exactly where EG were positioning, and they still aren't able to connect on that team fight. That's how far ahead EG are, not just in net worth, but the experience department as well. They weren't able to finish their food and get that initial kill onto Nightfall, because that was a huge portion of the damage in that team fight coming through from him. Crit as well, just showing up again. 2,000 damage being dealt by the Snapfire with the Mortimer's Kisses.
And you also just have Arbed, who is free farming. And I think this is a really, really scary Templar Assassin game. When you're a lineup that is a lot of single target. Pretty much the only way to deal with refraction is to swashbuckle from low.
He got the birds, I guess. But yeah, I completely understand what you're going for there. It is just... It's a lot, and you're going to have a lot of heroes who are probably going in before you, right? Primal Beast, even the Sven to a lesser extent. Arteezy's eventually going to be able to get a Blink Dagger after he finishes his Ags.
With being ahead EG, they can look to itemize to deal with the minus armor that will come out from BetBoom. That is their big concern at the moment. How are you going to be able to keep yourselves alive against a lot of the physical damage? There's a little bit more space though for the Hawk. Vlad's completed. Into the Wraith Pack next. Seems like he needs more time and the boys need more time as well, but
yeah,
how long do they really need?
I was really thinking that probably they weren't going to take that fight up top because they were pretty happy. They scouted out the movement. It was potentially a lot of wasted movement coming through from EG, especially considering it was a fly TP, right? So maybe they could have made a move elsewhere. Maybe they could just sit back and allow Dahak to get that first key item because I still don't think they're ready. They've got the Diffusal Blade, but I mean, in the meantime, because of losing that fight, it means that they don't feel confident enough to be able to fight yet. They lose a tier 1 tower as a result of Arbed's consistent harassing whenever these fights are going on, and now they're free enough to make the smoke.
Nice scam. Very, very nice scam from BetBoom. They're going to play with their own counter smoke. So trying to get to bottom, maybe baiting Dahak in the lane. They've got to be pretty quick though. They're going to be able to scout Dahak out. TPs are starting to come through, but the Mortimer Kisses should be able to deal with the passive easily enough. Meanwhile, under the tier 1 tower though, BetBoom, they will be able to find Arbed caught out as well. So a 1-for-1 at least across the map. BetBoom do find something.
I'd say that's preferable for BetBoom, to be honest. I mean, being able to take out Arbed, he was scaling, but I suppose it is still your win condition, right, on Dahak. This is the reason that you pick him, this hero, first. He is such a prominent name with the hero, and, well, they're going to have to back off. They're not going to be able to resolve this in too much extra pressure around the map. Dahak even just using his familiar to keep this creep wave available, realizing that he needs that little bit of extra gold, that extra experience coming through, and he's got to get it from 2 creep waves.
Are they gonna go for this? I was gonna say, I think people on the T2 tower.
I mean, the other aspect of this is once you get the levels on Dahak, you get this point booster to be able to finish up the Wraith Pact. No real other huge items coming through soon. Maybe the Blink Dagger on Notice, but I feel like you need to go before then. This is a lineup that just shreds through Roshan as well, right? So you take a successful team fight off the back of the vision, more notably up towards the top side near Roche, where you've actually got a good understanding, and then you could look to connect onto that next key objective. Can't be dying though on Dahak as, yep, they get a nice little D-ward off as well from Roger to make sure that a little bit of EG's vision game is removed from the equation.
This is the big thing now. The Hawk very, very close to the Wraith Pact, and you just mentioned that. The possibility for them to be able to take Rose, so we'll probably see them try and force a fight around mid. They can get a pick off. They'll probably need 2 kills just because the net worth deficit that it is at the moment. Then maybe with those kills they can look to force the issue and try and take that Roshan. Top lane Lol might be in some trouble. Arteezy is going to try and bait. Maybe see BetBoom heavily commit with Crit being nearby.
Can't be giving up his life for free. The important thing is you're against a Pudge, you're against all these strength heroes, so the Diffusal Blade's going to give a lot of value for Lyle as well. Even lucky enough to get the Tumbler's Toy just for a little bit of that extra mobility in some of these early team fights. They're actually going to go for Pudge.
Crit's here. A cookie to reposition. And as soon as they see the snap fire, Lol, he won't be able to continue on forward for more. So that's a Rolling Thunder expended.
Radiant structures are fortified.
I really feel like they don't want to wait too much longer though. I mean, you didn't go for the Blink Dagger on Noticed. He's just looking to be a right-click beast right now. Going into the power treads, he's building up towards that BKB for himself, realizing that, look, I've got a hook shot, I've got a Rolling Thunder to be able to make plays around, but if that Rolling Thunder's on cooldown, you don't. You have to just sit back, be a little bit more passive, and Abed's going to accelerate his farm much faster than your team.
Nightfall's got a BKB to play with if required. Gonna get some distance with the onslaught, but the rest of the boys are starting to move over. A beautiful cogs push away. And they're going to be able to bring him down though. Nightfall ever so tanky. The Pulverize going to be stopped in its tracks thanks to the swap. In fact, it was the Dismember instead. And now with a cookie on forward, Arteezy trying to get on top of the Slardar as well, but will not be the case. So Nightfall just showing how ridiculously hard it is to bring down this Primal Beast, especially if EG are positioning behind him.
Ooh, I'm wondering, like, when do they consider to go Roshan? Because if EG is able to take that one away from BetBoom, that's going to go a long way towards their victory. And it's not like they don't have the tools to be able to do it, right? They've got a TA, the double meld, you've got the 1 value point into the little Shredder as well on crit. So just a lot of that minus armor that's going to enable them to go for it. And yeah, that's what BetBoom's worried about. They use the scan onto the Roche pit, realizing that we can't afford to give this one up. For now though, EG, they're just going to play a little bit more of the passive game. Do they jump Arteezy? Not underneath the tier 1 tower. They don't feel confident enough just yet. Kill on crit would be big though.
Arteezy gets the hook. Onto the Hawk, the instant response is going to be there as Nightfall just charges into the middle. Lyle's going to try and create some chaos as well with the Rolling Thunder. It's a beautiful ultimate coming out from the Painkali, but the rest of BetBoom have been forced back away. They will not be able to capitalize. And now with Nightfall off to the right side, trying to target down Roger. Again, the back and forth is there. Both sides do an incredible job at the spell casting to keep their core members alive.
Lyle playing very un-Lyle-like. He's very common to just be wanting to go all in, and Arteezy was super killable there. Just a little bit more movement coming out of the Rolling Thunder. You had another swashbuckle available. Yeah, you might have given up your own life, but I feel like stopping this Pudge before he gets into the Aghanim Scepter is more important.
I thought might be in some trouble, top.
Diffusal. Ooh,
Hook
just
shots
out
on
of range.
cooldown. Hook shots on cooldown for 10. Seneco's got the swap if he can get in range, but just a little bit too far away. Aquak wasn't even there to be able to capitalize. See, they might even make an attempt on Notice mid lane.
Yep. They're just looking to get these lanes in a pretty aggressive state constantly on EG. I mean, Arteezy.
All noticed. Right next to the tier 2 tower, they're going to be forced to use the Mortimer-Kisser to try and blow him up, but it's not enough damage for the swap. Oh, Notice stays alive, and now Nightfall's the one that's in trouble as BetBoom. They brought the numbers to protect him. The Rolling Thunder continuing on forward, but Nightfall's too fast, man. Lol can't even catch up. Oh, no. The Rolling Thunder doesn't even close the distance. Meanwhile, off to the other side, fly and crit. The duo support from EG get the kill onto the Clockwork.
Oh, nice
They will
TP by
lose Crit
Notice.
in the end. Notice into the tree lines, able to bring down Crit, and Fly will step out to the left side.
I just want to see that race again coming through. You know, that was Vin Diesel and Paul Walker going on. Fast and the Furious coming through between the Primal Beast and the Pangolier.
So, what's going on with this Pango build? What are your thoughts on the Manta style from LoL?
Good question. Honestly, I'm not sure. What was he even able to dispel here? Don't know. Don't know off the top of my head. Maybe I'm not seeing something super obvious, but it does really feel like Lyle wants to try and scale, wants to keep lanes pushed out, more things to use the diffusal blade on, I guess, in team fights, but I would feel much more confident if he was just going into that Aghanim Scepter that I love.
I mean, there's some cool Manta dodges he can do.
I guess, but...
if it's worth, what is it, 5,100? How much is it? 4,600.
A lot of money.
I'm very excited to see. A lot of money. I'm very excited to see. He's got Basher and Skadi queued up as well. So it does look like Lyle is trying to be a real big threat as the game goes on. Like you said, maybe just the extra Manta illusions to help with the diffuser burn. Potentially is trying to push out the side lanes. We'll see. But BetBoom,
yeah,
they get some kills. They can definitely go into Roche. It's a big team fight for BetBoom to bring themselves back into this game one. As the triangle's going to be the target as Roger hook shots in. They really want to get onto Arteezy. Fly's going to put himself in the middle, acting as the bodyguard, but they're still pushing on forward for more as Lyle just beeline straight towards the Pudge. But can they chill with the rest of EG members?
Oh, yes, they can.
Nightfall. Moving off to the right side, protected for the moment, and BetBoom, what an incredible team fight for them. They bring down 3 and now can look to get Roche.
Yeah, right in front of the pit, get rid of the TA trap coming through there. Arteezy didn't actually pop the Flesh Heap there. Otherwise, I feel like they would have felt quite confident, but with some of that vision that they've been able to place down, that they see Nightfall grouping around the area, he's building up into a lot more of that armor for himself, going into the plate mail already towards the Shiva's Guard. Being a very effective tool, not just for his own protection. Actually, he's changing up here. Point booster being picked up with the plate mail.
Back to the Shivas.
And back to the Shivas. Yeah. Right, calm down.
BetBoom, we buy mid. Rolling Thunder's going to be back up shortly as well. Nightfall's going to be playing with the BKB, but the instant use of the bash stops the pulverize in its tracks. Roger can help BetBoom reposition. In fact, they want to go back in, targeting down Arbed. They've been able to deal with the refraction, a beautiful double stun, some back and forth with the posture.
Another
Crit finds an opening for the double stun. This can enable Nightfall to charge into the middle, but he just gives over his life, and with the disarm, Arved can't continue to right click. They need to bounce back off the wall, while unable to find an angle to get onto the Templar Assassin. So in the end, a 1-for-1 from both sides.
You just see how much emphasis they go on towards giving Arbed that potential to live, to get that next kill. Nightfall realizes that once those BKBs are popped, I'm pretty damn useless, so I just got to throw my life in there. I felt pretty tanky with the plate mail, but obviously not.
And Lyle is a gigantic reason of why this net worth lead is continuing to be cut. I am incredibly impressed with the game that he's had so far. 6-1-3, second in net worth on the Pangolier. I mean, the fact that you are keeping up with the Templar Assassin is crazy.
Remember reading an interview that he had, and he was like, I don't get nervous. I just want to play Dota. Doesn't matter if we finish first, if we finish last. I don't have any excitement at all about playing TI. He said, my task is to win, and that's it. So I'm going to dub him the Terminator, because it just feels like he is a robot that is designed to play Dota.
Robot, no emotions. Well, he's really leading them to a stage where you get another team fight. That's Roche all of a sudden there for BetBoom, and then potentially their lineup. You know, again, this is a 5-man that can end the game relatively early. We're only 24 minutes in. You get Aegis all of a sudden, some towers, and this game can get really out of hand.
And when they made that previous movement and they were able to kill Arteezy and Fly, Dahak wasn't level 12 yet. He was still level 11, so those familiars had only half of their current damage. Now they've got that damage, amplified of course by the Wraith Pact. They've got the drums as well, so there's a little bit of a power spike coming here for BetBoom. But EG feel like they're strong enough to be able to contest against it. They're going to go a long wraparound, and again, just using the Manta illusions to push out some of these waves. So that's a big reason as why Lyle is now top of the net worth.
Roger's got great positioning. They're going to see Arteezy moving on forward.
Oh, no.
Oh, it connects. A blind hook from Arteezy onto Roger, but the hook shot for himself. Roger will still die. Nightfall's going to charge in, and BetBoom feels strong enough to take the team fight. Lyle's going to try and find an opening with a Rolling Thunder, targeting down Fly. They don't want to heavily commit to put themselves in a compromised position as Crit. He's going all the way to the right side as well, so another freebie from BetBoom. But look at the importance of this team fight. Both sides know if anyone comes out on top, that just opens up the pit.
indeed, and both sides feel ready enough. Instantly remove that vision as well, although Abed able to do the same. Confident enough to be able to go in. They know with all these buybacks being expended, if you had one on the bench, he would have used it by now. Going to scout out with the familiars for now. No hook shot for another 15 seconds, though.
They're on to Lyle. Let's see if they can blow him up. Great use the mid to dodge, but still the stun is there into the dismember. Lyle's going to make it to the higher ground, but the meld damage blows him up, and now they'll drag them all into the river. It's still EG. They're losing members. Notice acting like the raid boss. He doesn't give a damn about running into the middle. In combination with the Hawk, they find 3 EG members, and Lyle's even going to buy back as well. They want the prize of Roche.
Yeah, if they can give this Aegis over to Lyle, I think they're going to be incredibly happy with it. I mean, they thought that they had this 5v4 situation, and they did, but the diebacks are expended on the Sven and the Snapfire. There's no way for them to be able to rejoin. Great hook coming out from Artesia as well, it has to be said, but just not enough to clean it up. BetBoom, it's very clear that this is their big timing. They've taken the first Roche. They've got that big power spike around the Visage, reaching level 15 as well, by the way. Just committing with Lyle. Let's have a look at that man to dodge. Coming through there. He ends up swashbuckling back into the Pulverize and just melting to Nightfall, but still directs a lot of attention away from himself, and every time that you're allowed to just sit the Hawk in onto the backlines, it means that he's able to dish out that super consistent damage.
This is going to be a really scary period now for EG. Like you just mentioned, the Visage having level 15 in combination with the Slaughter's 2 points in Corrosive Haze.
And the AC
you got the
as well, I think,
maxed
picked out by Dahak.
Oh my. Because Artesia doesn't have an armor item just yet. I guess Phase Boots, honestly, Dragon Scale, you get pretty lucky with a neutral item drop, but until he gets Plate Mail, Artesia is very, very vulnerable to being killed off.
Yeah, and he's talented for it as well, so 4 armor, every little bit helps, but he's going to need every single point of that.
Bottom Nightfall. Looking for a solo kill, but it's very close to the tier 1 tower, and he doesn't have many members of EG nearby. BetBoom can look to rotate in. Lyle's the initial target's going to be able to get some distance away. Can they bring him down though with the first life? They're going to be able to secure it thanks to the Mortimer Kisses. They'll turn to Soniqs next in the river as well. A great start of the fight for EEG, but can they get more? As Artesia finds the look onto Lyle, is just caught out. The Pangoli doesn't have any of the boys protecting him. And now EG going to move over the triangle. The familiar stun covering their TPR. Beautiful micro from the Hawk. It looks like Roger will not be as fortunate. No escape. Stuck in between a rock and a hard place as EG find 3 and now some more objectives to be claimed.
And they know, again, no buyback available for this Pango, as well as the Clockwork, I believe, unless he expended it previously. So they're going to be able to continuously push on forward. Might look to expend their bodies to be able to protect this siege creep, but no. Abed feels confident enough with the refraction, with the fact that they're going to be fighting this 5v2, that they don't need to go for it. But yeah, again, this is the power that you get from the Primal Beast, right? You can just run on in. Doesn't matter if you've got this this bash that goes through the BKB, if you're just never able to land it. Those damn mini stuns being a menace for Noticed, and Lyle ended up giving up his life a couple of times for free. I thought maybe Dahak coming in with his rotation from the left-hand side would have been able to change things, but again, Nightfall just makes that movement in onto him, makes sure that he's not able to free cast and has to play under a little bit more panic.
It's just EG making sure that everyone comes down. It was a location in the map that it was going to be very difficult for all their members to be nearby, but as soon as the fight broke out, see just the heroes swing to the right side and make sure you had at least all 5 members to be able to take the skirmish, which was a big advantage for BetBoom. The net worth lead fell down to pretty much only 2,000. They had the Aegis advantage, but now it's ballooned back up to 8k here for Evil Geniuses.
But it's not like BetBoom are out of it entirely. You know, they missed that timing, and I'm sure they're going to be hurting about that. But you've got other ones coming. I was mistaken. He didn't have the full AC on the Courier, so still about 650 gold left before he picks that up on Dahak. You've got the Aghanim Scepter now on the Clockwork as well. You know how much I love that, just providing a little bit of extra vision. Nearly level 18 on the Pango with the Basher. Nearly level 18 on Noticed as well. That's not good, though.
No, not at all. Yes, at least it's a Clockwork that goes down, but this might be a tier 2 tower that's going to take some damage as well. Instead, EG, they want to try and get control of the top jungle. Maybe get some wards down, get another lane shoved out as well so they can occupy a good chunk of the map.
I mean, they're pickoff's pretty great, right? They've got Blink Dagger on multiple heroes now. Pudge, the TA, of course, Nightfall doesn't need it right now. He's got the Shiva's Guard as well to feel completely safe and, oh. Just some old teammates, you know, coming together.
At least he said sorry. He didn't mean it. That's easy. Cookie's gonna get him a little bit closer to the Hawk. Moya will protect him, but he's gonna lose them, unfortunately. Doesn't have a resummon. No jokes. Okay. Back and forth Phantom, but this is looking scary. EGC, all of them. Noticed and Law. This is a great ward for them to play with. They're just gonna be cautious. They need the slaughter. Nice sidestep though. Dodge is out on the hook. Soniqs might be forced to swap. Not even required. In fact, he's gonna swap Nightfall into the base. Instant use of the BKB, protected the Primal Beast. They might even be able to go for Roger next as well. He's caught outside. There's BetBoom just giving over a couple of freebies in our EG. They might think about knocking on the high ground.
Now, you've effectively got zero value out of this overclocking. You know, I know Clockwork, his main role in a lot of these team fights is to go in first, to be able to force those early BKBs out, but if you're not using that overclocking, you're missing out on a ton of damage against the backlines in particular.
Oh, Arteezy. He's just jumped straight onto the high ground, trying to target down Pango. Law's in trouble without any way to keep him alive. They're going to turn to Notice next.
Even just using the glyph to be able to try and provide that multi-shot through, and they get another hook.
Oh no,
Arteezy's on point, man. 6-2 and 11, looking to close this one out before they reach that next big power spike on BetBoom. And nearly landing another one, and it's not just the one tower that they're going to be able to get. They can very easily look to claim the bottom side as well. Still plenty of time with Lyle and Soniqs in the grave.
Dyer's middle barracks are under attack.
How do you even defend? Oh, Roger, not RT. What are you doing to the man? I want to see more Arteezy Pudge. What is going on? These hooks.
As if people needed more of a reason to pick the Pudge, right? Now Arteezy's going to play it, so rip everyone's pubs. We're going to be looking to see this, but if you can play it like Arteezy, go for your life. I like the way that EG have itemized, you know, Arteezy doesn't quite have the plate mail picked up for himself. It's in his quick buy, but, you know, even just things like the Guardian Greaves on Crit Snapfire, giving a little bit of armor. You've got the Shiva's Guard, you've got, you know, even people holding on to the Ring of Akula, even though it might not be the most efficient item, just that little bit of armor is going to provide that extra protection that you need to be able to withstand the initial burst, get the BKBs off, and make the turnarounds happen. I thought maybe they might have committed a little bit too hard here with the initial spells, but Arteezy just fearless. He's going to be able to go on in, use that Blink Dagger effectively. Again, when they make that secondary move, you can't be losing the supports. This is what I was talking about. Zero value out of the overclocking so far from Roger. Almost feels like he needs to be using it now. Now to keep the lanes pushed out, because super creeps are just going to start passively pushing into your base. And I mean, Slardar, Clock, Venge, typically they don't deal with split push very well at all.
Dyer's top tower is under attack.
They're just choosing to clump up instead on BetBoom. Shove out a lane, go for a smoke. This might be fairly obvious though, considering no one else was showing on the map. So EG making sure to clump up around their vision, be as close as they can as a team. Clump around an area, no black hole, no ravage, nothing that's instantly going to catch out all of them. They just want to be able to withstand this, and it's really obvious too, with the tier 2 tower on the top side, taking a little bit of harassment. So good positioning, good map reading coming through from EG. This is the power that taking those early racks provides you.
They're just probably going to keep shoving it top and force them back eventually.
Yep.
Starting to ping the high ground. Eventually going to have to reset the formation inside the base for BetBoom. One last lane of barracks. Soniqs hoping for an open to get that swap. See the instant response so that can come out from EG.
No, they're just playing around the Roche pit right now. They're going to see the familiars. They're going to take out one by use of the TA trap. Use the Skadi just for a little bit of that extra vision. Claim the other familiar. force a resummon out of Dahak, so now he doesn't have as much of the chain lockdown in these team fights either, and Roche's respawn. Everything going EG's way right now.
Is even get the D-Ward as well.
Look at you all day.
That one potential they...
Another hook,
Arteezy,
man.
another hook, man. Not the Roger, the trap vision. Thanks to the Aghanim shard, this goddamn TA shard. They tried to nerf it. They've tried, man. Multiple times, multiple patches. They've done their best to make this shard not as strong, but it is still so stupid. Crit mid lane, a spot with a whole lot of burst potential. Notice was ready and primed with the bashes, but EG, they can reinitiate, they can go back in, an easy kill onto the bench, and now Nightfall is going to turn down to the south, targeting a Notice, finding an opening for Arteezy to get the Dismember out. They're going to be able to cover the retreat from Notice, but that might come at the cost of Lyle's own life as he's stuck inside the river. EG find 4,
That'll
the
be
sole
game.
survivors to Hawk. But it looks like that might be all she wrote. Top lane's getting shoved in, and BetBoom do not have buybacks.
Yeah, I think they're just checking to see if they are actually going to go for the push. Maybe they were thinking, well, Roche is up. Maybe they might going to be able to claim that one. But yeah, this should be mega creeps. Very, very easily claimed by EG. And GG set to be called soon. They weathered the storm. They got past that scary timing around that level 15 or so on the Visage, around the AC, and just a couple of simple pickoffs onto supports. The ones that were causing those BKBs to be popped so early to so much more.
Doesn't seem like an easy lineup to be able to defend Mega Creeps. Not at all.
Not at all. It's a pipe dream from Seneko. Aghanim Scepter queued up. Not a chance that he's going to be able to pick this one up before the game ends. As EG, they're going to go down the safe route. Again, they don't deal well with creeps pushing into their base. Let's just go take Roshan. Even a couple of people dead on the sidelines. They're going to be able to catch out Lyle. Nightfall might give up his body on the front just to be able to provide that extra distraction, but yeah, no need.
Oops.
Deso on the ground? Abed
Needs Deso.
nearly just leaving. At least it's not an Aegis, man. You know, we've seen plenty of Aegises at TI just be left on the ground, maybe denied. You know, it's
Maybe a little cheeky deny. Anything can happen with the A-click. Scary, scary A-click inside the pit.
it's understandable for BetBoom why they want to play it out, right? Any more chances to be able to, you know, experiment with a few things, maybe try different calls. I'm just huffing some copium here. You know, this game is over. It's been over for about 5 minutes or so. But you've got your tournament lives on the line. Any chance of something, you know, divine intervention to come through?
I'm down. I'll have some copium as well. Swap into the crush from Notice into the chain control. I've got the moon shard. There's a 1% chance as well. I'll have the copium too. Let's see it. It's not good if Notice runs into Nightfall on the tree line though. Very scary once Mega Creeps get inside the base as well. So now EG know exactly where multiple members are. It's just a question of who do they want to jump in. Well, a cookie from Crit will set it up perfectly. Arteezy's going to follow into the middle as well. Lyle's going to try and distract him to get BetBoom into a position where they can reset, but EG just way too far ahead, swarming into multiple members. Another incredible hook from Arteezy puts Lyle into the grave for the final time this game as EG will find a game one.
Well, indeed, and it's off the back of a different draft as well. You know, he's not a one-trick wonder Nightfall. He's not just about the Broodmother, the Beastmaster, the Lycan. He can do it even with this hero like the Primal Beast. So even more flex being given over to EG. Previously, it was the Shadow Fiend, which Abed and Arteezy can look to play. Teams ban it out. They say, all right, let's flex the Primal Beast. There's plenty of OP heroes that we can look to play around this meta.